The mirror had been covered for 40 years. When they unveiled it, she screamed. The mirror was massive, antique. Its golden frame was chipped, tarnished by time, but the cloth over it, thick, dusty, untouched, that was what made the air feel heavy. No one had dared touch it since 1983, not because of a curse, not because of any written warning, but because the last person who looked into it was never the same again. The house had changed owners 5 times since then. And every single one left that room alone. The guest bedroom on the 2nd floor, with the curtains always drawn, the door always locked, and that mirror, standing silently in the corner. They said the room was cold, that the shadows never felt right, that sometimes you'd hear whispering when you passed by, like someone was waiting to be seen. When Lily inherited the house, she laughed at the stories. She wasn't superstitious. She was a skeptic, a realist, but also curious. She couldn't ignore something sealed for 4 decades, especially when the family lawyer's final warning was, "Don't touch the mirror, please." So of course she did. One rainy afternoon, alone, she stepped into the forbidden room. Her fingers trembled as she grabbed the cloth. Dust rose like smoke, and when she pulled it off, the silence cracked. The room darkened, and what she saw inside the mirror wasn't her own reflection. She screamed, louder than she ever had in her life. And the sound didn't echo, it was absorbed, as if the mirror had swallowed it, along with something else, something no one had seen in 40 years, and something that never wanted to be seen again. It had been standing there for 40 years, covered, forgotten, feared. Every owner of the house left it exactly as it was, not out of respect, but out of something deeper, something closer to instinct, because that mirror didn't reflect light. It held something behind the glass, something that watched. And waited. When Lily pulled the cloth off, she didn't just break tradition, she woke it. You're about to hear the full story, not the version they print in real estate reports, not the whispers passed around by neighbors, but the truth about what happened in that room, what Lily saw, and what that mirror was really hiding. This is a tale of obsession, regret, and something that remembers. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe right now, because what you're about to see is just one of many mysteries we uncover. Hit the like button if stories like this keep you up at night. And tell me in the comments, what country and city are you watching from? And would you have uncovered the mirror or locked the door forever? Because not every reflection belongs to you. Some were never meant to be seen, and once you see them, they don't let go. Chapter 1. The Inheritance. Lily Hartman never expected to inherit a house. She was 32, single, a graphic designer in Boston who rented a small apartment and lived mostly online. When her great-aunt Eleanor died, the lawyer contacted her out of nowhere. "You're the last living relative," he said. She barely remembered Eleanor, just a strange, pale woman with cold hands and a soft voice who visited once when Lily was a child. Apparently, Eleanor had left her entire estate to Lily. An old Victorian house in upstate New York, untouched since the early 80s. A frozen place in time filled with secrets Lily wasn't ready for. But she went. Curiosity overrode caution. The first time Lily saw the house, she felt something tighten in her chest. Not fear, more like pressure. The house stood tall and dark, with ivy crawling up the sides and boards over half the windows. It looked like it had been forgotten by the world, but something about it pulled her in. She stepped inside with the lawyer beside her, and the smell of old wood and dust hit her like a memory she didn't recognize. "Everything you see now is yours," he said. "Except one thing." He pointed toward the staircase. "The second floor. There's a room at the end of the hall. Don't open it." Lily blinked. "Why not?" The lawyer hesitated. "It was Eleanor's request. She left instructions, specifically about the mirror." "What mirror?" "You'll know it when you see it. Just don't touch it." "Don't remove the cloth." His tone was cold, serious, almost desperate. She nodded, unsure if he was being dramatic or insane, but something in his eyes made her remember that feeling, the pressure in her chest, like the house was warning her. The first few days were peaceful. Lily cleaned, explored the garden, read old letters and journals from Eleanor, most of them faded and unreadable. She found strange objects, a box full of iron keys, melted candles stuck to porcelain plates, and a dollhouse with no dolls, only mirrors in every room. The house was silent, but never still. She heard creaks, sighs, sometimes whispers, but always when she was alone upstairs, always near that door. She stood in front of it often. The wood was darker than the others, almost black. A single lock hung from the knob, but it wasn't secured. There was no key needed, just the will to turn it. She didn't, not yet, but she pressed her ear to the door once and thought she heard something on the other side, not movement, breathing. On the sixth night, Lily dreamed of the room. She was standing inside it. The windows were covered and the mirror faced her, but she wasn't alone. There was someone behind her in the reflection. A woman, eyes hollow, mouth open, screaming without sound. Lily turned around in the dream, but no one was there. She woke up gasping. And the hallway light was flickering. That morning, she asked the neighbor about the mirror, an old man, cane in hand, face like wrinkled paper. He looked down. "You shouldn't have come alone," he said. She laughed nervously. "I'm not scared of antiques." He didn't smile. "It's not the mirror you should fear. It's what's still trapped inside it." The mirror, she learned, had been covered in 1983. After something happened to Eleanor's younger sister, Madeline. No details, no obituary. Just a void in every story. And from that year forward, Eleanor sealed the room. She never entered again. She paid for the room to be cleaned, but never allowed anyone to look inside, not even the cleaners. Now, Lily was the only one with the key, the only one in the house. And each night, the whispers near the door grew louder. She heard her name once, soft, drawn out, like a breath in a cold tunnel. She placed her hand on the knob, but something stopped her. Not fear, recognition. As if part of her already knew what was inside. That night she dreamed again, the same mirror, but this time the woman in the reflection turned toward her and whispered, "I've been waiting." Lily woke up crying, and the door to the upstairs room was wide open. Chapter 2. The Mirror Room. The hallway was dead silent. Not even the wind creaked against the window panes. The door to the forbidden room stood wide open. No breeze, no draft, nothing natural could explain it. Lily stood at the threshold, barefoot, heart pounding so hard she could hear it echo in her ears. The room beyond was grey with dust, the air stale like a crypt. She took a step inside, and something cold slid down her spine, as if something had just passed through her, or was still watching. The room was smaller than she expected, Just a narrow window, a cracked ceiling, and old furniture veiled in white cloths. But in the far corner, there it stood, the mirror, taller than she imagined. Framed in black wood etched with symbols she didn't recognize, and covered in a thick velvet cloth yellowed with age. It pulsed with presence, as if it wasn't just in the room, it was the room. Lily approached slowly. Every step made the floor groan beneath her. The smell changed. Less dust, more earth, wet, rotting earth, like something had been buried behind the walls. Her breath quickened. She reached out to touch the velvet, but stopped. Her hand hovered inches from it, and the cloth moved by itself. She jerked her hand back, heart racing. The cloth swayed as if something had exhaled beneath it. Then it stilled. Lily backed away, but her feet wouldn't move. The mirror pulled at her. Not physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, like it knew her, like it had been waiting, calling. She left the room, slammed the door, locked it, didn't sleep that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw her own reflection, but in a room that wasn't hers, wearing clothes she didn't own, and eyes that didn't blink. When morning came, the door was open again, just slightly. Over the next few days, she avoided the second floor. She cooked, cleaned, rearranged furniture, anything to stay distracted. But the feeling grew, like something behind that door was getting stronger. And then, on the fourth night, she found footprints in the dust, leading from the mirror room into her bedroom. That same night, the mirror began whispering. She couldn't hear it directly, but it filled her dreams. Her name repeated softly. Then, "Come see. Don't forget. She's waiting." The voice was not hers, not Eleanor's, but somehow familiar. It came from a place deeper than memory, deeper than the body, deeper than life. Lily began researching the mirror. Old documents, archived letters, notes in the attic. She found sketches of the mirror dated 1894, a family tree with names crossed out, and next to one name, Madeline Hartman, a single word scrawled in red ink. Reflected. No date of death, no burial record, just that word, written like a curse. The final straw came on the fifth night. She woke up to find the cloth from the mirror folded neatly at the foot of her bed. It was warm to the touch, and her reflection, in the vanity across the room, was smiling. But Lily wasn't. She was crying. She walked to the mirror room in silence. Didn't fight it anymore. Whatever it was, whatever it wanted, she had already opened the door the moment she stepped foot in that house. The mirror stood exposed, uncovered, still, and when she looked inside, she didn't see herself. She saw someone else, someone watching her from the other side, and that someone was starting to move. Chapter 3. The Woman in the Glass. Lily stood frozen. The mirror no longer reflected the room. There was no bed, no cracked ceiling, no sunlight creeping through the curtains. Instead, the space beyond the glass was dark, candlelit, with peeling wallpaper and a damp wooden floor. At the center stood a woman, still, barefoot, hair tangled over her face, and her eyes locked onto Lily's like they had been waiting decades to open. The woman in the mirror looked exactly like her. Same face, same lips. But the expression was wrong, twisted, eyes that didn't blink, a smile that didn't move. And when Lily tilted her head, the reflection did not follow. It stared straight forward, unaffected, unnatural. Lily backed away, pulse racing. But the woman in the mirror stayed close, unmoving. She didn't mimic. She didn't mirror. She just watched. Lily slammed the cloth back over the glass, tied it down, ran to her room and locked the door. Her hands trembled all night. She didn't sleep, she didn't dream, because she didn't want to see her again. The next morning, the cloth was gone. Not on the mirror, not anywhere in the house. And the mirror, now it showed the real room again, a perfect reflection, except for one thing. The corner behind Lily, where the woman had stood, was always a little darker than the rest. She stopped going into the room. She blocked the door with a dresser, burned sage, prayed. Nothing worked, because the mirror wasn't confined to that space anymore. Now it followed her. Reflections in spoons, windows, even puddles. They twitched when she blinked. And sometimes she saw her. The woman in the glass had a message. At first, Lily couldn't hear it. It came in flashes, images when she closed her eyes, fire, screaming, a hand reaching through glass. Then a phrase etched across the vanity in condensation. We were one. She wiped it away, but the message came back, again and again. Lily returned to Eleanor's journals. Pages torn, sentences half-written, but one entry caught her eye. She came back last night. I locked the room again. I told her to leave, but she said I never left her. She said I was her. God forgive me. I see my own face in the mirror, but it's not me. It never was. Lily read it over and over. What did Eleanor mean? Who was she? And why did the mirror show the wrong version of them both? Was it a spirit, a curse, or something far older, something that needed a face to wear? That night, Lily dreamed of water. She was drowning, hands pressed against glass above her. She screamed, but the sound didn't rise. The woman stared down at her, dry and still, watching, smiling. Then came the whisper, not in her dream, but in her room. Let me out. She woke, gasping. Her window had fogged over from the inside, and carved into it with a fingertip was the word, now. Lily stepped out of bed, walked to the mirror room, removed the dresser, opened the door, and this time, she didn't look away. Chapter 4. The Pact. The room was darker than it had ever been. The sun hadn't even set, but the light outside wouldn't touch the walls. It was as if the mirror absorbed it, feeding on it. Lily stepped inside. The mirror stood fully exposed now. No cloth, no dust, no hiding. And the woman in the glass. She was closer, only inches from the surface, her hand pressed gently against the inside, waiting for Lily to match it. She should have run, should have called someone or broken the thing. But Lily didn't move. Something inside her was still. She walked forward step by step until her own hand hovered over the glass. The cold from the mirror wasn't just temperature, it was memory, grief, loneliness, and something else, desire. When her fingers touched the surface, the woman inside smiled. Not a wicked smile, a sad one. Like she had waited too long, and now that the moment had come, even she wasn't sure it should happen. Then Lily heard her, not aloud, not with ears, but inside her bones. I was you before the world remembered you. And he waited for your face, your blood, your name. You're not the first, but you could be the last. Let me walk, let me live, and you'll never feel pain again. Lily's mouth trembled. She whispered back, not knowing why. Who are you? And the answer wasn't a name, it was a hunger. It was familiarity, like remembering a nightmare from childhood that never really ended. She backed away. No, she said, I'm not part of this. But the mirror responded. Reflections flickered. Dozens of faces appeared behind the woman, all variations of Lily, older, younger, dead-eyed, smiling, screaming, trapped, each one begging, each one waiting. Suddenly, the house groaned. The floorboards beneath her cracked slightly, and cold wind spilled through the room. Though no window was open, the mirror's surface rippled like water disturbed, and the woman inside leaned forward. Her lips moved. "You already said yes." Lily turned to run, but the door was gone. Not closed. Gone. A blank wall stood where it had once been. No knob, no frame, just drywall. She turned back to the mirror, but now it showed the room as it was before. Decades ago. Old wallpaper restored, candles lit, and a young girl sitting in the corner, rocking back and forth, whispering the same word. Reflected. Lily screamed, pounded the wall, shouted for help. Nothing answered. Only the girl turned her head, and it was Lily's own childlike face, tears down her cheeks. She whispered, "You promised." And suddenly, Lily remembered the dream, the first one, the hand reaching through glass. Had that been her hand or hers? A crack split across the mirror, just one, thin and long, like a hairline fracture in time. The woman's face began to distort. Eyes hollowing, teeth showing. She pressed harder against the glass, and Lily could feel her breath on her skin. It was wet, alive, real. And then the voice came again. So clear this time it didn't feel internal. "Make the pact." One step forward and it all ends. Lily stared into her own haunted reflection, tears running down both faces now, one trapped, one terrified, and the mirror waited. Chapter 5. The Exchange. Lily stepped forward. She didn't remember deciding to do it. Her body moved like it had always known, one foot after the other. The mirror's surface rippled again, not like water, but like skin. When she reached out, it accepted her. Her fingertips didn't meet resistance. They sank. And the cold that met her was not of this world. It was older than cold. As her arm vanished into the glass, the woman inside leaned back, inviting her in. Lily gasped, half of her body already submerged. She looked behind. The room was gone. No dresser, no doorway, just endless reflection. And on the other side of the glass, the other Lily began to move. Her twin, if it was even that, stepped out of the mirror, just as Lily fell inside. There was no impact, no flaw, only weightlessness. Lily floated in darkness, surrounded by echoes, not sounds, memories, laughter, sobbing, the creak of Eleanor's voice. And then the mirror slammed shut behind her. On the other side, the thing wearing Lily's face opened its eyes. It inhaled. Slow, deep, deliberate. The room around her flickered, and the house seemed to exhale. It was free. After decades sealed behind glass, it walked again, and it knew exactly how to be Lily, how to wear her skin like a costume. Inside the mirror, Lily screamed. But no sound came. She was standing in the same room, but it was wrong. Dead. Colorless. Time didn't move here. Dust hovered, never falling. The window showed only gray fog, and the door, there was no door. She ran. Every direction led to the same reflection. Every wall was a mirror, and in each one, she saw herself, but different. 1,000 versions of Lily, each one screaming silently, trapped behind glass, and all of them staring at her. In the real world, the new Lily smiled. She ate Eleanor's food, slept in Lily's bed. She answered texts, posted photos. No one noticed the change because she remembered everything. She was Lily, but with something added, something hungry. Inside the mirror, the real Lily began to forget. It started with her name, then her voice, then her age. The longer she stayed, the more the mirror fed on her. She could feel pieces of herself being replaced with silence, with stillness, with reflection. She wasn't alive. But she wasn't dead either. She was kept. One day she saw a crack in one of the mirrored walls, tiny, barely visible, but it wasn't there before. Something from the outside had touched the glass. A chance, a glitch, a weakness in the pact. And she ran toward it, her voice gone, her soul fading, but she ran. In the real world, the new Lily paused in front of the bathroom mirror. Something inside it twitched, a shadow, a flicker, and then her hand began to tremble, just for a second. But she looked straight into her own eyes and whispered, "You're still in there, aren't you?" The mirror did not answer, but the corner of her mouth curled, and in the silence, the real Lily screamed. Chapter 6. The Fracture. Lily pressed both hands against the crack. The glass was warm now, not comforting, feverish. It pulsed like skin, like something alive was just behind it. She pounded on the surface, but it didn't break. Her fists made no sound. Everything here was silent. The mirror didn't echo, it absorbed. The other Lilies were still watching, all frozen in their own panels of glass, forever mid-scream, mid-reach, mid-begging. Some looked ancient, others were children. They weren't just versions of her, they were pieces. Each one a moment she had forgotten, each one a fragment the mirror had devoured. This place wasn't just a prison, it was a museum of souls. Back in the real world, the new Lily's body began to flicker in her phone camera, in the silverware. In reflections of puddles and windshields, things didn't match. People noticed. One friend called, "You look different." She smiled too wide, laughed too long, and at night, her eyes didn't close when she slept. Inside the mirror, Lily stopped trying to scream. She sat beneath the fracture, fingers tracing its edge. It shimmered faintly, almost like it pulsed with her heartbeat, or with someone else's. She remembered Eleanor's journal. Reflected. And was that the word for this? For being erased but present? She pressed her forehead to the crack and whispered, "I'm still here." The crack widened. Not much. Not a break. A hairline shift. But it was real. And from the other side, someone looked in. A child, a girl, 5 or 6, big eyes. She stared into the mirror for a long time, then whispered, "That's not you." The new Lily was visiting a friend's daughter. They sat at the kitchen table. The little girl pointed to the hallway mirror. "Why are your eyes black?" Lily froze. She blinked slowly. "I don't have black eyes." The girl tilted her head. "Yes, you do. In that one." And when they turned, the reflection was smiling, even though Lily's mouth was still. Inside the mirror, Lily stood up. She placed both hands on the fracture again, and this time, she pushed. Not with strength, but with memory. She closed her eyes, pulled every image of her life to the surface. Laughter, her parents, her first kiss, her art, her grief. Her name. The crack responded. It glowed, it breathed. The world around her shivered, and the other Lilies blinked. For the first time, some reached toward her, some screamed, but a few smiled. Hope. For the first time in this place, hope. Then came the scream, not Lily's, not the trapped ones, but the reflection. In the real world, the new Lily clutched her head. Blood dripped from her nose. The mirror in the hallway cracked. The kitchen lights flickered. The little girl screamed. And the reflection in the glass changed. Just for a second, it wasn't her anymore, it was Lily, the real one. Inside, she saw it. The fracture was now wide enough for a breath. She leaned in, whispered her name again, louder. "I am Lily Hartman." And the glass rippled. A pulse, a heartbeat, a chance. But chances have a cost, and something else, something ancient, was listening too. Chapter 7. The Trade. The mirror trembled, not like glass under pressure, but like a muscle contracting, alive. Hungry, the fracture had widened to the size of a hand, and Lily could feel air from the other side. Real air, cold, earthy, filled with dust and hope. She pressed her palm into the opening. It tingled, and on the other side, something pressed back. It wasn't the fake Lily. This presence was older, darker. It didn't push with flesh, it pushed with intent. And for the first time, Lily realized the mirror wasn't just a barrier, it was a gate. And something ancient had been using her reflection as a disguise. It wanted out, but only one soul could leave. She stepped back. Around her, the mirrored versions began to shake, their faces glitching. Some losing eyes, others twisting into impossible shapes. Time was collapsing, the space was unraveling, the mirror couldn't hold them all anymore, and it was choosing. The reflections began to vanish, one by one, until only Lily remained, and one other, the fake. She was standing in the real world's mirror, watching Lily, and she spoke not aloud but through the glass. "I've lived for weeks in your name. I've tasted your freedom. Why should I go back? You gave it to me." Lily screamed. "It wasn't a choice." And the mirror cracked again, a vein of white right down the middle, like the glass had a spine, and it just snapped. In the real world, mirrors across the house shattered. Bathroom, hallway, even the toaster's reflection burst in sparks. The fake Lily fell to the ground, grabbing her chest, and for a moment her voice split, two tones layered, human and not. Inside, Lily ran. The mirrored dimension began to break. Walls fractured, stairs twisted into sky. Gravity turned sideways. She screamed her name again. "Lily Hartman, Lily Hartman!" And every time she said it, a version of herself blinked out of existence, like she was pulling power back, taking it all, condensing it into one self. The gate opened. A swirling hole of static and light, the only exit. Lily sprinted toward it, but something blocked her. The ancient thing, a silhouette of smoke and bone. No eyes, no voice, just the impression of teeth smiling beneath the skin. It whispered inside her skull, "Trade or stay." And it pointed toward the fake Lily's reflection. She looked. The fake was on the ground, sobbing, bleeding, weak. For the first time, she wasn't perfect. She was crumbling. Lily reached forward, grabbed the edge of the mirror. It burned her palms, blisters bubbling instantly, but she didn't let go. She stared into the eyes of her stolen self and said, "Give it back." The fake Lily crawled forward, touched the glass. Their hands met, and the world inverted. Lily felt her body yanked forward, every memory, every breath rushing back into her lungs. But something else came with it, a scream that didn't belong to her. A shadow latched to her spine. The trade had a price. She woke up on the floor of the house, hands shaking, blood on her face, but she was back. She touched the mirror, now cracked and dim, no reflection, only black, only silence, and behind her, in the dark of the hallway, something moved, something that hadn't stayed behind. Chapter 8. The haunting Lily staggered through the hallway, barefoot, trembling. Her hands were raw, palms split open from the mirror's burn. The air in the house was different now, heavier, thicker. Like she was underwater but still breathing. She didn't hear her footsteps, only silence, not peaceful silence, hungry silence, the kind that waits for something to scream. She turned every light on, room by room, but the shadows didn't move. They stayed where they were, too long, too deep, refusing to obey the light. In the kitchen, the reflection in the window blinked before she did. She smashed it with a frying pan. Glass everywhere, but the shape still hovered just beyond the broken pane. In the bathroom, she washed the blood off her face, but the mirror above the sink was black. No reflection, only a faint outline of her back. She turned. Nothing. But when she turned back, the mirror showed someone standing behind her, close enough to touch her neck. She collapsed against the wall, gasping. The mirror was empty again, but her breath fogged it, and something wrote through the steam. "I'm still here." She tried to leave the house. Front door stuck, back door gone, just wall. Windows wouldn't break, the phone wouldn't dial, no signal, even her screams didn't echo. She wasn't in the mirror anymore, but she hadn't really come home. Lily began writing notes to herself, leaving them all over the house. Don't trust the mirrors. You are real. Talk to no one. But each morning, one of them would be rewritten, changed, corrected, and always in the same handwriting, hers, but older, shaky, not hers anymore. She started sleeping in the basement. No mirrors, no windows. Just concrete. But even there, the lights flickered. She began hearing water dripping, though no pipes were leaking. And one night she woke up to the sound of her own voice, whispering from the darkness, "Let me show you something." She ran upstairs, but the walls were wrong. Different photos, different furniture, like the house was trying on other versions of itself, other timelines, other victims. She found a photo of herself on the fridge, but the eyes had been blacked out, not scratched. Burned. One night she caught her reflection moving again, not ahead of her, not behind her, next to her. The thing in the glass leaned in, face twitching, lips mouthing something. She pressed her ear to the mirror and heard a whisper, not words, but breathing right beside her. She began coughing blood, seeing her skin change in the mirror, her veins darker, her eyes grayer, and sometimes in her reflection there were two of her, one in front, one behind, and both smiling. Because the trade wasn't clean, something came through with her. One morning she found the mirror sealed again. The cloth had returned, neatly draped, tied with red twine. She didn't touch it. She didn't move. But she heard the whisper again. Same voice, same promise. "We can trade again, if you're ready." And Lily realized the mirror had never wanted her. It wanted access, and now that it had it, it didn't need her alive. Chapter 9. The Possession. Lily stood in front of the covered mirror. She hadn't touched it, hadn't spoken its name, but it was whispering again, through walls, through dreams, through her own voice. She recorded herself while sleeping, and heard herself mutter, "Let me out, let me in," over and over, until her voice changed, deeper, thinner, not human. She began forgetting basic things, how to write her name, what her parents looked like, what day it was. Sometimes she looked in the mirror and felt like a guest in her own body, as if someone else had moved in, rearranged the furniture of her mind, and was waiting for her to forget where the light switch was. And some mornings, she woke up already smiling. She carved words into the wooden floor of the hallway, not with tools, with her fingernails. She didn't remember doing it, but they were there. 6 identical phrases. I was never alone. And beside them, handprints. Too long, too narrow, too many fingers. Each one pressed into the grain, like they'd been burned there. The mirror started opening on its own, not physically, but visually. She'd walk past and see a different room inside it. Sometimes a basement, sometimes a hospital, Sometimes a dark forest with a single figure standing at the edge watching her. The figure never moved, but it got closer every night. She called a priest, tried to bless the house, but when he stepped inside, he vomited immediately. His nose bled. And when he tried to speak Latin, his tongue locked inside his mouth. He ran, never came back, and left a note behind. This house doesn't need cleansing, it needs to be sealed. She found old sketches in the attic, pages from Eleanor's journals, drawings of the mirror surrounded by eyes, surrounded by fire, and one that showed a woman with no face stepping out of the mirror while a child was pulled in. At the bottom of the page, reflected is not reversed, it's replaced. But that night, she had a seizure, collapsed in the kitchen. When she woke, her fingernails were black, and her eyes, they didn't match. One brown, one grey. She cried in the hallway, but her reflection didn't. It tilted its head, studied her, and whispered, "Almost ready." The people around her stopped calling. Friends said she sounded different. Her boss let her go. Even the neighbors avoided her. Dogs barked when she walked by. Children stared and pointed. And once, a woman on the street stopped her and asked, "Whose eyes are those?" Lily didn't answer, because she didn't know anymore. The mirror split open that night. No more velvet, no more pretense. It was wide, glowing, alive. The frame pulsed like flesh. A heartbeat echoed in the walls. And Lily, what was left of her, stood at the edge, drawn in, not by fear, but by familiarity, like she belonged there all along. Before she stepped through, she turned, one last time, to see the life she no longer recognized. The hallway, the light, the girl in the photos gone, erased. Then she whispered, "Take what you want. I'm done." And as she crossed into the glass, something else stepped out behind her. Chapter 10. The Other Side. Lily stepped through the mirror, or whatever was left of her. It wasn't like before. No weightlessness, no floating. This time the air was thick, wet, breathing, like she'd entered the lungs of something alive, something waiting. She walked forward barefoot, each step leaving no sound. There was no floor, no sky, only reflections of things that never happened. She wandered through hallways of memory, her childhood bedroom, but the bed was made of bone, her parents' kitchen, but her mother's mouth never moved, just opened, as if frozen mid-scream. There were doorways, but none led anywhere, windows with nothing outside. Time moved here, but not forward. In one mirror, she saw herself smiling, holding a baby she never had. In another, she was older, alone. In another, she was dead. Face sunken, eyes rotting, but still standing. Each version of her still trapped, still aware, still watching. Each one whispering the same phrase. "We said yes." Then she saw the original Lily, the one who first encountered the mirror decades ago. The one Eleanor had written about. Old now, broken, eyes white, skin translucent, still alive, still whispering to the glass. "It never stops. It never stops. It never..." She collapsed before finishing the sentence. Back in the real world, a woman stood in Lily's house. She wore her face, her clothes, answered her phone, smiled at her neighbor, but she didn't blink, not when she should, not at all, and her reflection in the windows lagged behind her as if it had to catch up. At the grocery store, a stranger tapped her shoulder, said, "You look just like someone I knew." She turned, smiled, and whispered, "I'm everyone you've forgotten." The stranger laughed nervously, but her child began to cry. He pointed at the woman's eyes. "There's someone else in there." In the mirror world, Lily began to fade. not into darkness, into transparency, like she was being erased. But one thing remained, her name. She carved it into a mirrored wall with her nails, over and over, Lily Hartman, Lily Hartman. If she was going to vanish, she wanted the glass to remember her, but something did more than remember. It answered. The wall where she carved her name cracked, not from the outside, but from within, and out stepped a girl, 10, maybe 11. The same girl who had once stared at her through the crack. She reached out, touched Lily's hand, and whispered, "We can still leave." Together, they ran. Through corridors that twisted, through memories that bit. The other reflection screamed. The mirror tried to collapse, but it was too late. Lily had help now. The gate reappeared, but only one of them could cross. Lily didn't hesitate. She pushed the girl through, and as the world shattered behind her, she smiled, because the girl was free, and Lily was finally awake. In the real world, a new mirror arrived at a thrift shop in Ohio, unlabeled, framed in velvet wood, a note taped to the back, "Do not remove the cloth." The clerk removed it anyway, laughed, set it on display, and somewhere inside, something opened its eyes again. They say, mirrors show us who we are. But what if they remember who we used to be? What if, buried behind glass and silver, there's a version of us we forgot to bury? And it's still waiting for us, to look too long. Lily Hartman was never found, at least not the one who vanished. The girl who escaped from the mirror never spoke of what she saw. She changed her name, moved to another town, and every mirror in her house is covered, always. So the next time you walk past a mirror and feel a chill, or see your reflection blink a little too late, ask yourself this: are you looking at yourself, or at someone who's been waiting to take your place?